not buy this game. Now don't get me wrong, Diablo 4 is not a bad game per se, but God, do I have a lot of issues with this game. And most of the issues I have with this game are solely based on the fact that I spent $70 of hard-earned money on something I feel didn't deliver. At most, I think Diablo 4 is worth 45 bucks, and I might get a lot of hate for saying that, but honestly, I don't really give a shit. Y'all could string me up naked on a metal pole during a thunderstorm and throw needles dipped in AIDS at me, and I still wouldn't change my mind. Once again, I do not think Diablo 4 is by any means a terrible game. You could love this game and spend your entire existence grinding for that next piece of legendary gear as you wet your pants on your sofa all day because you didn't bother to go to the bathroom for all I care. So I'm gonna break this video down into listed reasons that explain why I don't believe that anybody should spend $70 on this game. We are going to be talking about some issues that the game has been having, and you may already be aware of these issues, but I'm not here to spread awareness, I'm just here to complain. Every reviewer that said this game is beautiful is a feces consumer that has no idea what a pretty game looks like. This is a pretty game. This game looks like a depressed Disco Elysium that listens to My Chemical Romance to deal with its problems. You cannot tell me an entire game being as dark and bland as this is pretty. Like, look at this shit. This looks like I wiped my ass all over a toilet seat and didn't even bother to clean it up. Let's do a side-by-side comparison to Diablo 3 and in Diablo 4 when you're fighting enemies. Diablo 3 is clearly brighter, there's more color, the screen is engaging, but in Diablo 4 it's just specks of color flying out into a gray world that dissipates seconds after they appear, keeping the game dark and gloomy. Dark and gloomy is cool, don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of Dark Souls, Hunt Showdown, Bloodborne. Those games are some of the most gloomy fucking games I've ever seen in my life, and they're great for what they are. However, there is a beauty in their gloom, but in Diablo, the design feels lazy and uninspired compared to the last game. When I play a game where I exist in a fantasy world, I expect to be dazzled because I am entering a world that is not my own. If I wanted to experience a gloomy, bland, and colorless world, I would just go to my local graveyard and attend a random funeral service, or perhaps go down to the local coroner and ask him how much his caskets are. If I can't enjoy what I'm looking at on the screen, then how can I enjoy the game experience? With the exception of the chaotic beauty that is Cruelty Squad, that game looks like fucking shit. I'm sure that you all have heard about the huge issue with Season 1. For those who are unaware, I'll give you a short brief example as I understand it. Blizzard stated that in Season 1, you will not be able to use your character that you created when starting the game, nor any other characters you have created before the start of the season. Now this is a part of the Diablo 4 formula. I understand that. It's a part of the Diablo formula in general. The game is seasonal, and you make a character or multiple characters and grind to get them as strong as possible before the season ends, and then you do it again next season. I have no complaints with this formula actually. I think it's a really good formula for a market of players and masochists that enjoy grinding gameplay loops until their brain is a rotting pile of goo that thinks about the running Bunchy meme from 14 years ago all day. What I don't like about this is that I dropped $70 on this game, and all the progress I made when I bought it is not entirely for no reason, but it makes my efforts feel completely fucking pointless. When you spend $70 on the game, my guy, you would expect the game to release with all the content required to keep players happy. Doesn't matter if it's a casual player or a hardcore player. I guess you can't expect that too much nowadays because developers like to shoot out passable games that are close to done. And more we are seeing lazy fake passion projects that are actually really great for about a week and then they never actually get finished. But with Diablo 4 personally for me, my character that I have fun on and actually grinded to make him feel good feels like a complete waste of my time. I get no battle pass progression on this character. I don't get to use him in a season to get better gear. Yes, I could pass down gear from a future season to this character in the Eternal Realm. That is perfectly fine, but if you're going to charge $70 for a game, don't make playing the game at release completely fucking pointless. Blizzard should have released Season 1 with the game, and there's really no excuse for that besides dealing with the opening weekend and the servers. That's all I gotta say about that. Everybody has their own preferences for what a good game is for them, and I'm not going to judge you on what type of game you like playing. You could spend your days eating Doritos and petting your cat Sprinkles while playing VR hot, and I wouldn't judge you at all. Just for me personally, I find Diablo 4's gameplay to be just as stale as Lay's chips left out of the family barbecue too long. Diablo's formula has not changed at all, and that's okay for the most part. But to be honest, in an action RPG or any RPG for that matter, you would think that as you level up, you would feel more and more powerful as the game continues menus at least a little bit, but I didn't feel that. I got this weird feeling that I was always level 1 when fighting the hordes of enemies that came my way. And that is amazing in some circumstances to keep players engaged so that the game is always presenting new challenges and keeping you on your toes. I love that part of video games, but in Diablo 4 it just feels bland, dude.
How's our signature dish?
Bland as fuck.
The gameplay just feels like I'm doing chores. Every single quest is the same. Go to this location, kill monsters, come back, go retrieve items, kill monsters, go retrieve items, kill monsters, come back, quest complete. I might as well play Foreskin at that point. As I play this game and the longer I play it, the combat never seems to get any more interesting than it was in the first couple hours. Nothing in this game got me truly excited. Even the boss fights were boring. The only thing I looked forward to was being able to kill mobs faster so I could get through the levels so I could catch up with my friends. And just leveling up to kill monsters faster is not a fun gameplay loop in this circumstance for me personally. It just feels very rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat can be fine in a game, but if the gameplay feels the same throughout the entire experience, which it definitely did for me, then you have a recipe for an extremely boring game. And if it's not boring for you, the novelty will wear off eventually. And if it doesn't, then well, you're a psychopath. Blizzard's known for making a ton of boo-boos when it comes to their games. I'm not really interested in talking about those boo-boos, and also because I don't feel like refreshing myself on all the information by doing research. I don't got time for that. I'm trying to play Baldurs Gate 3, which we're gonna talk about in a little bit. What I don't like is how Blizzard made this game out to be one of the biggest hits of the year. Like I had no choice but to buy it, or I was missing out on an amazing gaming experience. Even Megan Fox was telling me to buy Diablo 4.
Show me your worst endgame death with hashtag Diablo deaths, and you might get a eulogy from yours truly.
This is bullshit. I know that all of this is subjective, but to be honest, when I first started the game, not only did it not let me log in after waiting 2 hours, I think it was 4 for it to download because the download speeds were so fucking trash and the servers were just being absolutely fucked. But then they had the gall, the balls in my launcher to ask me if I wanted to upgrade to the deluxe edition to get some cool skins, my guy. Fucking skins? You're telling me that these skins are so cool that they're worth almost $100 of hard-earned money? Nah, to be honest, these skins are ass, bro, and why the fuck would I spend almost $100 for that? And then I find out at launch they already have a store for more cool skins right on the fucking pause menu of the game. This just screams corporate greed to me. I do not understand why we are okay with developers trying to leech money off us like this. It's not really that, it's not right. It's fucked. What the fuck? DLC used to be an entire package with either map packs, entire quest lines, extra content to make the game even more fun overall, but now we get fucking skins, dude. So cool. I find this to be one of the dumbest moves ever unless you're trying to make your game an MMO. Yes, I know that there may be some underlying security and pirating reasons that they did this, but still, dude, I'm gonna complain about it. Imagine someone who doesn't have the privilege of amazing internet speed. Imagine people whose internet has gone out temporarily. Imagine people who live out in the fucking boonies who just want to get their Diablo on while they're cooking food outside at the trailer park, but they can't fucking play Diablo 4 because they can't get a really good connection and stay stable to the servers. I don't know, that was really fucking specific. That is my point here, though. You never know what circumstance that a person could be in. There's millions, billions of people in the world. Billions. There are countless times when a player won't have access to the internet. And let's say you do. You are completely reliant on the mercy of the servers performing well and staying stable. I don't know about you guys, but when I played Diablo 4, the lag was unbearable. It made me want to consume shit. I would teleport 20 feet ahead of where my character originally was just to get slaughtered by a creature that was moving while my screen was frozen. I'm sure you have encountered these struggles at one point or another if you have already purchased the game, and if you have already purchased the game, I'm sorry. The point that I'm trying to make here is having video games be an online only experience when it doesn't need to be not only hurts the players that genuinely want to enjoy the game, but just looks bad on the company itself. Why is the connection required? Why can't I play in a world that is solo where I have no help from possible passing players? Why can't I play this game without fucking lagging? Usually online games don't bother me in the slightest, but if you're gonna sit down and tell the world that your game is an RPG, action RPG, whatever, how can you get truly immersed if the connection issues are always a problem? I wasn't going to compare these two games, but after having personal experience with Baldurs Gate 3 in early access, I need to make a statement about this. If you haven't heard, there's a brand new anomaly coming to gamers on August 3rd named Baldurs Gate 3. This game is set in the Dungeons and Dragons universe and actually uses D&D rules in-game. I purchased Baldurs Gate 3 for $60 in early access, 3 weeks prior to the game's actual release. This game in early access is one of the best RPGs I've ever played in my life. Scratch that. It is the best RPG I have ever played in my life. Let me fill you in. Baldurs Gate 3 has 175 hours worth of cutscenes to be discovered throughout the entire game, as well as 2 million words in the script, my dude. There's not even 2 million words in the fucking dictionary. That means every single NPC has voiced dialogue in a massive RPG world with hundreds, if not possibly thousands of NPCs. Probably not thousands, not like, you know, like 2,000, 3,000. There might be like, you know, like 1,200, 1,500. I don't know. I'm bad at math. Hey guys, so this is editor sauce here, and I just wanted to actually let you guys know, besides all of the things that I just said in the video when I first recorded it, I actually found out Baldur's Gate 3 is going to have 17,000 ending variations. You know, that should say enough. This also means endless replayability in a short sentence. And because of the dice roll mechanic in the game, if you're aware of how D&D works, and the system being completely RNG, you'll never really have a situation that plays out exactly the same way as somebody else's gameplay or past playthroughs that you have done before. The world is huge, and even tiny side quests hold deep stories within them and have consequences in the future, kind of similar to The Witcher, if you know what I mean. How that game, you would make a choice and then maybe hours later into your playthrough you would just get fucked because you made the wrong choice. Your character in this game grows as a person, as do your companions. You can even fuck a bear. Who doesn't want to play a game where you can fuck a bear? What I'm trying to say is Baldur's Gate 3 in early access sets a new standard for video games going forward. This is a game made with love and care, a game that cares about its audience, its world, its story, its characters. That's the whole reason they put it in early access, though I don't agree with the full $60 price point for early access players. You're basically just a playtester to give them feedback about the game so they can make it better, but they really listen to their audience when you're doing that. And in return, you get the deluxe version of the game when it releases fully if you bought it at full price in pre-release. So that's a cool plus, I guess. So they're even giving people at least something for spending that much money to help them out and help them create this world, which shows that they at least like care a little bit and they're not all about money, but you know, you gotta make that bag. Everything in this game has been crafted for the player to enjoy a truly foreign world that really feels like someone who is on an epic journey to which you have no idea how it will end. The NPCs are engaging as their stories actually have soul. The choices you make actually have weight, and you have complete freedom as to how you want to complete a quest. And that's not an exaggeration. Whatever way you want. And sometimes you're at the mercy of the RNG system of the dice roll, and sometimes the situation will definitely not go out as you planned, and you might have to come up with a different plan. I'll be making a video about Baldur's Gate more in depth upon its release, going into more detail about why this game is so great, so keep a lookout for that video when it drops. Now, what's the point I'm trying to make here though? Why do I even bring this game up? I think that's very clear. This is a game I spent $10 less on that hasn't asked me for a single penny since I purchased the game. In fact, it's rewarding me for purchasing it and giving me an upgraded version of it for purchasing it in early access. The game is complete, as complete can be in early access, since the game is 3 weeks from release at the time of this recording. The game is close to the finished product, but apparently they're adding a lot more content, so like, what do I know? But the game is amazing. And the game is packed with content that I could explore for hundreds of hours. Even in early access, it is completely engaging and fun all the way through. Diablo is a game I spent almost $100 on. That's including the tax over the $70 I already spent on the base game. So almost $80, $20 shy of $100 for the base game. It feels like it has no soul, and it only exists to cash in on a loyal fan base. It feels lazy, dark, and boring. The story is somewhat okay. It's definitely better from the last Diablo game, but it still never really grips me in the way that Baldur's Gate does, or any good RPG for that matter. Let me give you an example. I encountered an NPC in Baldur's Gate that led me to discovering a tiefling that sold magic rings for a low price. Each ring had its own specific property, like making you turn invisible or making you more lucky, increasing the chance of you finding better loot when you open chests or pick up loot off of bodies, only to get robbed by another tiefling while I was purchasing the item. I could have ignored this. He didn't even steal money from me, he stole like a cup or some shit. Instead, I decided to investigate and asked the small merchant if he had stolen anything from me or had been involved. He pointed me in the direction of a secret hole to a hideout of thieves that may have stolen my items. I couldn't fit through the hole at first because I wasn't a gnome or a dwarf, but I just so happened to be a druid. So I transformed into a cat and squeezed right into the hole. Had I not had this power, obviously the story would have been completely different and I might not have been able to even do this quest altogether. I then discover the thieves and threaten a literal 10-year-old to give me my money back or I'll turn into a bear and rip them apart and eat them. Afterwards, I donate 40 coins to their gang since they claim that they'll be the next thieves guild in the city of Baldurs Gate. They were happy with me and told me that they would help me out in the future when I get to the city. I have no idea where this will lead in the future, but it's this kind of storytelling and engagement that I expect from an expensive video game. And this is just standard price for a video game, $60, the way it's always been. Yes, I know action RPGs and RPGs are completely different and it's weird to compare their gameplay, but if we take a step back and we look at these games side by side and ask a couple of questions. Which game has more content? Which game has more value? Which game will leave an impact on the player long after completing it? Which game is truly worth the money? Which game is more immersive? Which game deserves to be this price? I think you know the answer to this. Diablo 4 is simply not worth a $70 price tag, my guys. Stop buying this shit. At least wait until it goes on sale. On top of it being $70, it does not have enough content to keep me engaged to the point where I feel as if I didn't waste my money. On top of all this, it even asks you for more money after the purchase. Ridiculous. Like, for fuck's sake, the store's in the pause menu. Like, come on. These are just my opinions on the game, and once again, if you like this game, that's great. If you feel as if you got your money's worth, that's fine. A good game, to an extent, is subjective to the individual. With that said, my subjective opinion of Diablo 4 is it's garbage and not worth $70. Thank you guys for watching until the end. I just wanted to make this video so that people who haven't purchased the game know what it's actually like and hear opinions from someone who's not a fanboy of the series and is considering dropping the fat 70 for the darn thing. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button because I'm just the most wonderful person in your eyes that deserves love and likes from kind human beings such as yourself. You sweet thing, you. Alright, that's it. Peace.